Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We got another exciting session about voices in AI. We are talking about some of the leadership at OpenAI. We've covered Amira. We have an episode on Sam that will be coming out as well. And now it's time to talk about Greg Brockman, the president, and some people say are the real engine within getting things done there.
Yeah, I definitely get the sense that he is attuned to my workhorse nature. Just who knows if it's apocryphal. There's the story that he spends like 100 hours a day, more hours than there are in a day, tip tapping away coding things. But either way, and similar to Mira, making me feel self-conscious. Born in 1987 in North Dakota, was definitely a genius from a very early age. Won the chemistry Olympiad while he was in school. And just to really hammer it home, he enrolled in Harvard, left for MIT, and then dropped out.
Yeah, but dropped out, I think, and pretty much was immediately named CTO at Stripe.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, just the guy must be a coding savant, right? In many respects. And we're laughing about the 80 to 100 hour thing in a week that he's very famous for because people have publicly spoken about it. But yeah, the other thing that comes out when they talk about it is if you look at most Silicon Valley companies, when they say president, he doesn't approach it in that kind of, I don't want to say glorified top level. He's very hands on. A lot of the coding that is happening behind the scenes is either completely his and then passed on to teams to carry forward, or he's dabbling in all areas of the company, which most presidents probably are. But I think it sounds from reading that he's going into a lot more depth across these areas.
Yeah, he gets into the weeds, which is definitely not normal for a president. In fact, it's usually the complete other way around. And typically you don't want the president of a company getting into the weeds. But I think this just speaks to you build your process around the strengths of a team, because you don't really need the president to be doing president-y things when you have Sam Altman as the CEO or whatever, dealing with the things that a president would usually deal with. So it allows for Sam to be off drumming up support, getting funding, steering the direction, whereas Greg gets to be like down in the dirt, working with the code, driving the engineering solutions based on the vision that is set by Sam and others. So
it's interesting that you say president, right? And you immediately think there's a managerial duty. He's got no one reporting to him. He's basically the expert that's diving in. Shoo, yeah, I'll fix that. I'll fix that. Oh, I'm interested in that. And I don't know if they have a COO, right, in their official kind of traditional kind of role, but he sounds like that's what he's servicing at. And because he's such an experienced software engineer, he's able to help in multiple areas.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like he dropped out of 2 Ivy League schools, saved a ton of money, I'm sure, on his student loans, and
I'll
just went
probably
to
get
go
honorary doctorates from him, right? At some state.
and just went on to co-found with his brother and another colleague from MIT, Stripe, I use Stripe. Everyone knows about Stripe, the payment processor, back in like 2010-ish. It's wild. He helped grow the company from just a handful of people to a couple hundred people. It's just,
Yes, and I'll tell you what really fascinated me and I can't remember the math now. When did you say he was born? 87?
87.
Okay, so this guy, 2008 would be 31, right?
Say it again?
2008, he would have been 31.
No, that can't be right.
87 to 2000, yeah.
To 2008?
Yeah.
No, that would be 21.
21. Oh, even better for the example I'm going to give. Yeah, sorry. He was already involved with the AI in the landscape. He was building some sort of scheduling app. And he realized that what he wanted to do with the AI was nowhere near the level of for the scheduling app. At 21, man, this guy was already looking at a landscape and seeing its future. Yeah, that blew me away. At 21, I was just trying to stand in line for a bar.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of, again, we talked to Mira and as well, this Olympiad kind of, his was in chemistry and what that must mean for his ability to think about training and the rigmarole of repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. For human and AI collaboration, I just think it almost seems like it's in safe hands, right? Because we don't know what's really happening behind the scenes. There's a black box, just like AI will always have.
Yeah.
Hopefully not always, currently has.
Yeah, and he's worked on some interesting projects at OpenAI before GPT and everything. A lot of what they were doing prior to ChatGPT was actually reward modeling in games.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cool projects they work on is there's this pretty popular esports game called Dota, and was kind of just like AlphaGo in chess and everything like that. It's hard to create an AI that can be a human, like a professional human
Yeah.
in these games. And they were able, surprisingly, to create an AI team that was consistently able to beat the best in the world at this game, Dota.
Yeah. They dedicated a lot of time to it, though.
Yeah.
From what I picked up on, man. Yeah. Time being across some, I'll call them heavy hitters, right, within the company. It was definitely a team project
Yeah.
that helped create that. But yeah, it is amazing to see where that, and I also find it interesting. Why is gaming, in the sense of Go or Dota, why is that considered such a threshold achievement for AI? Is it because of the multiple permutations?
I think the answer to this question would be different based on who you ask, but the idea here is that a lot of this is based on game theory, which essentially is just looking at the world through the lens of a game people are playing, either a competitive zero sum game or a cooperative additive game. And this just helps to model certain scenarios, particularly around rewards and how you use reinforcement learning, rewarding for certain behaviors, not rewarding or punishing for other behaviors in a variety of different scenarios. There's this famous example of reinforcement learning gaming based on a game called Montezuma's Revenge. Have you?
That's an old,
like Atari game.
yeah, you would play, you'd have to type in stuff.
Yeah.
Almost,
No, I think it was more of a, like, almost like a dungeon crawler, but it was incredibly difficult. And the problem when it comes to AI and reinforcement learning is that typically, just like with animals or even us, you need like a sequenced, timed string of rewards in the direction, right, that you want. This is in operant conditioning. It's called, oh my God, what's it called? I'm forgetting what it's called right now, but essentially you want to reward small iterations towards the eventual thing you want, the behavior you want.
Conditioning.
There's something specific to this term. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
The problem though is when you get into a game like Montezuma's Revenge is that the period between you starting and the reward is so significant that there is nothing along the way to help you actually get towards that reward. There's no like sequence of things to follow. And what ended up happening, I think, is eventually there was like the AI had learned helplessness. It just stopped doing anything because no matter what it would do, it would die. Yeah. This is part of the path we've been on in AI is really figuring out what are those reward models where there's this balance between exploration and exploitation. Exploration being like going out and trying different and new things, and exploitation, which is you take advantage of sort of the rewards you get. If you do too much exploration, you won't end up ever solving the problem. If you do too much exploitation, you end up reward hacking. It's called the model, where it might figure out this way that humans would never think of to get the most points in a certain scenario. This is another example of this game of a boat race. And what it would do is it found there's this area in the race where you could just go in circles and like a coin or whatever would just respawn. So we just keep going in circles and circles and inevitably just lose the race because you just set up the reward the wrong way and it just hacked the
Right.
reward as it was set up. So that is why, in a lot of ways, using games as a way to model these rewards is so important, is because you figure out not only how it breaks down, but how it can generalize itself to different scenarios.
So it's cool. That's cool. And when you think about it, applying that into research, right? I'm thinking healthcare right now for some reason. You would know that, right? We tried these clinical trials. This worked, that didn't. That's the reward and function. It's interesting. With that also as well, the question that popped in my mind as you were sharing about that was, it's early stages, right? It's so early for the industry, but you don't see these guys as often. I'm not catching it, at least in my readings, talking about where it is case studies and use cases that they're seeing that are already pushing boundaries. You hear about it in press, and I get it because their AI is applicable in almost anything. So they don't want to start looking, oh, we're just about healthcare or finance or etc. But as a marketing person, I think it would be really fascinating that they start to put those kind of stories out and really with the how-tos behind it. A lot of times case studies and companies just say, here's what we did. It did X uplift. And they don't really share. They'll tell you a bit about the tech stack that was used.
Yeah, but they don't show
and a
the
bit of the
how.
strategy, but they don't really show you the how. And I think after things that have been going on with AI and just in general, there's an uplift here that is potentially so massive for everyone. But that uplift is through use and understanding how to use it. And the more this kind of information is freely shared, the better we can do.
Yeah, so I think it might be good to end on the OpenAI debacle and what happened with Greg in that. Everybody was very surprised at the board's abrupt decision. And I would say he is responsible for the cascade of people essentially saying they're going to quit.
Yeah.
Because he almost immediately, without question, went onto Twitter and was like, nope, I quit. If Sam's out, I quit.
I'm out. Yeah.
And as we've said, this is like the workhorse of the company. Like he is down in the weeds with things and building. And so not only to lose someone like that, but also we know how like the bystander effect works, right? If it's just one person, I don't know, but get one more person to join,
It can become
or
a
to speak
movement.
up,
Yeah.
it becomes a movement. I would say, Greg's like lack of hesitation, to follow Sam and then immediately have talks with Microsoft of like, let's just stand something up, Microsoft.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
if that didn't happen, I think this would have went a completely different way.
Yes, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to talk a bit more about that whole amazing 3 days, 5 days, whatever it turned out.
Yeah.
Such a when we talk about Ilya, because obviously he's the one who somehow initiated all that, and even he
Mhm.
stepped back. But yeah, that was. I think when the Netflix documentary comes out, man, that's gonna be a darn good watch.
Yeah, when the lawyers get out of the
Allow it,
way.
yes.
Cool. Well, there you
Yeah,
have it. There's the Greg man, and it'll
the
be
Greg
interesting to see
Brockman, you mean?
yes, the Greg Brockman. It'll be
Cheesy
interesting to
puns
see how
aside,
things.
thanks for watching, and we look forward to the next one with you in
Yeah.
our Voices in AI series.